Sweet16.com presents Studio 16 Live with special guests, the Corrs.
Sharon.
I'm Andrea.
We're from a town called Dundalk on the east coast of Ireland, just between Dublin and Belfast. And we're missing our sister Caroline and our brother Jim.
You get better at what you do the more you play. You challenge yourself more because your audience is then bigger and you want to be worthy of their ears, you know, so you make yourselves write the best songs you can, and you know, you've got your past work to look back on and go, I can't make that mistake again.
We spent about the first 5 years fighting, and then after that we kind of fought a little bit more, and then after that we did some more fighting, and
it got more sporadic as time went on.
And then
eventually we became
got tired.
friends.
Then we got tired of fighting. But now it's kind of, I mean, we've had a lot of success, and I suppose success can make you quite fulfilled and quite satisfied, and you're no longer frustrated. So I think for us it's kind of, we've grown up a bit as well, so we get on really well now.
It's hard to know because we've never been in bands that weren't other than this, you know. I think that people are, regardless of family and everything like that, we're all quite diverse characters. You know, the world's very varied, and you're very individual, no matter what family you're from. And even if you're from the same family, everybody knows within their family they're very individual. So I think putting 4 individuals, say, together, you know, 360 days a year, you know, so many hours a day, intensely together, very close, often crouched onto a sofa together, you know, whatever way it can be. You know, that it's gonna be hard in every relationship, you know. It's hard, but the love of music always re-energizes you, you know, and being aware of the magic that you have together, you know. So we did our new video for our second single, Irresistible, in Times Square here in New York recently, and which was crazy. And you know, we've been doing TV and radio and press, and also we've been in Canada for the last 4 days. So. It's from lyrics from a song on it called Give Me a Reason.
I suppose we have pretty high expectations because it's already been #1 in 18 other countries around the world. So we would be really, really hoping that it is a success here, because so far it's been a success everywhere else in the world, and it would just be kind of, well, why not here, you know? So we really would like that. So I suppose we do have high expectations, but we are working at this a long time, you know, and after a long time and a lot of hard work, you do expect more.
We do feel a sense of something, I think, between us now and America at the moment, you know, that it is going to lift. I mean, radio is picking up on it, and which is always a very hard thing to get here in America. So so we hope so, because we want to. I mean, we did those gigs with the Rolling Stones. We want to play those venues ourselves. So.
And we were looking at Madison Square Gardens this morning.
Yeah, we checked it out last week with
it's maybe
AC/DC.
a bit small, but you know, we might have to get them to extend it.
Maybe do 2 shows.
Yeah.
That's right, 2 shows maybe, or 3.
That's always a very difficult question, and a lot of people have asked us that recently. And I know for me that we really just loved recording this album. It was a very natural process, and all the songs came really quickly. And when you write your own material, and we all write the material, it's very close to you, and it's almost like picking one child over another, you know. So I think there's a very eclectic mix on this album, and for that reason it's difficult to compare one song to the other. So I think we should let the people who buy it decide what's their favourite.
No,
No.
we don't.
No.
I mean, when you're writing, none of that is in your head.
Right.
I mean, because if it was, I think you'd more than likely write tripe because you're contriving to do something instead of music as a natural expression. So, no. But there's people who can, you know. It was a very musical environment, you know, and I think that, you know, that's the best way to do an album. It was in Ireland, and we could just we'd write a song, or somebody would write a song, and they'd come in and go, "I've got a song, we'll start recording it," and that's kind of how it went. And before we knew it, we were actually recording our third album, you know, and we could go home at night and have our own nightlife, be with our own friends, get up in the morning, have our own breakfast. You know, have a social life.
Or have somebody else's
Have a social
breakfast.
life so you can be inspired. Have somebody else's breakfast.
It's better than being holed up in a studio for 3 months.
It's
in
much
a
better,
bathroom.
you
It
know.
really is, yeah.
And you know, any kind of pressure, like, have we got the single? Like,
Where's
you
the
know,
hit,
where's
yeah.
the hit? Any of that stuff.
Yeah, you don't want
We're just completely away from all that. So
Totally non-musical anyway, that whole thing.
it's a symbiotic relationship. You're helping each other. You know, if they're happy with what you've written, then they're going to sell it better. Or they're going to, you know, believe in it. So you know, you have to be aware of that. It's all a good feeling. It's not a bad feeling. But I don't think you can take the horrible marketing side into the studio. You know, when you're writing a song, it just seems cold.
And there's nothing to market until you've written an album. You know,
Yeah.
without the album, there's nothing. There's no product. There's no band. There's nothing.
Well,
It doesn't exist.
All of them are very special. I mean, when we first went out to Australia on our first album, Forgiven or Forgotten, we were so overwhelmed with how famous we were. We couldn't believe it. You know, and that was the beginning. So there's always something very special about that. And similarly in Ireland when we did that first thing. But I think Talking Corners, we'd really gotten very comfortable on stage, you know, because you're kind of reeling when it's a big, high, overwhelming impact from your first album. But Talking Corners, we'd gotten very comfortable, and we were so successful, you know. In Britain, we got a Brit Award, and we had so many nights in Wembley Stadium, and which we started to really enjoy it and live it up and party and have a good time, because before then it was an awful lot of hard work. You know, we'd be touring, but we'd have to get up the next morning and do a radio show or something like that because we hadn't broken yet. You know, so that was a really enjoyable one last year in Britain.
Well, New York would definitely be one. I just think the buzz here is great. Not even to tour and just to go out and, you know. but yeah, I'd love to. We'd certainly love to tour here. I think, I don't know, certainly London is great and Paris is brilliant.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Dublin, of course.
Spain and Dublin.
But
And
Dublin's daunting because it's at home.
Sydney's great as well. Everywhere around the world, you know, people have a lot of negative things to say about certain parts of the world, but there are always positives to the negatives, you know. And we as a band have a tendency to see the positives, you know, because we're doing something that we love in these places, you know.
The support we've gotten in Ireland is really overwhelming and fantastic, and there's pride. I have heard of bands in Britain that get a hard time, especially when they're successful in other places other than Britain. Then they really get a sold out vibe or something, you know. But then
then
at
also
the
if they
same
like
time
something-
they're so proud. Like
they like
they're so
something,
proud
yeah.
of like I mean, we had a really hard time breaking and you know, making it at all in Britain because during the Brit pop time, and the British people were so proud of like Oasis and Blur and the whole Britpop thing that was happening. So I think if it does make it in Britain, they embrace it, just like, you know. But if it makes it somewhere else and not in Britain, I
And
think
then-
that's when they kind of go.
And then they run after you with cameras for the rest of your life.
But a lot of them love it.
Terrorize you on your holidays. The Rolling Stones was one. They were just superb. And we went out with them and stuff, so that was great. It was just a great vibe to be out with legends, literal legends, you know.
That was
And
amazing.
it was great to get off stage every night and just go watch their gig. I mean, I don't think I've ever...
We had a ball.
Yeah, we had an absolute ball. I don't think I've ever toured with anybody that we were absolutely just desperate to watch their show every night, because those guys are the best performers in the world and they put the rest of us to absolute shame. And I don't care, no matter how, you know, how much of an icon anybody today is, you know, or perceived to be, none of them match up to the Rolling Stones in concert.
There's no polish, there's just energy
Yeah.
and just charisma and natural, earthy,
Cheek.
rawness, bold boys. And loving it and realising they're in a lucky place when they're up there, not being the self-indulgent thing, going, I'm the luckiest 50-year-old in the world, you know. There's babes down there looking at me, you know.
Right on.
And
These young
do you know
babes
what I
taking
mean?
me out.
Instead of most young people, it's really inspiring. Most young people on the stage, it's kind of like self-indulgent, kind of like, oh, poor me, I'm like, you know,
I'm depressed.
I'm cocooned in this little world, you know, and it's all sad, and people want things off me. Instead of going, embrace it. Jesus, if you're 50 and you're getting that, you'd be so pleased. And I think that was inspiring.
The type of stuff that we were really exposed to from a young age was like, you know, Simon and Garfunkel, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, the Carpenters, all that type of stuff, you know. And then as we were growing up, it would have been like Genesis and Peter Gabriel and Prince and the Police and all that type of stuff, you know. So I think those are the basic ones, but it's kind of hard to remember in an interview. Howard Jones, What Is Love?
That was a great song, though.
I love it.
I'm scared of saying mine. Can we skip over mine? Well, no, actually, I actually loved it at the time, and at the time,
I know.
you know,
what it is.
the girls at school, we used to get it and do the dance moves, and it was great fun. It was 5-star. Do you remember 5-star? Rain or shine, you'll always be.
Uh-oh.
One
I think
in
we're
a
having a
million.
culture breakdown.
They were great. I think part of them were family as well.
Well, we actually are ambassadors for a setup called the IFPI in Europe, and it's to protect copyright for artists all over Europe, because we feel it's an integral part of our culture, and we feel that for struggling musicians that they should not be subject to people downloading their music for free, nor should people like us who have made success out of it, because if we don't generate the success we do, the money doesn't go back in. When I watched the MTV Awards last night, did you see the sketch with the guy from Metallica?
Yeah, Lars Ulrich.
It was fantastic, because basically the guy went in and he caught the guy you know, downloading Metallica stuff. And he went in and he said, well, okay, you know, well then I'll have your wife, because we're sharing now, aren't we? I'll show your wife, I'll show your house, your car, your clothes, your everything. And it's just the same thing, you know. It's just, to expect to just take something like that is weird, and people need to know that it's just like theft.
Just, if you really believe in it, stay true to yourself, stay honest and true to your music. At the same time, be wise. If somebody's telling you it's crap, do listen a little, unless you really believe in it. And persevere. If your heart's really in it, it'll eventually find you, I think.
People are so stressed out nowadays. They're working way too hard, way too long hours. They're not giving themselves a break. They're taking the computers off on their holidays with them, their mobile phones, and it's too stressed out. I think you should just give yourself a break for the new year. That's what you should do. Give yourself a break.
Thanks for joining us on Studio 16 Live.